Wow. Just wow. Welcome in, welcome back, Unfinished fam. I'm Dr. Jones, but you're fam, so Chelsea is fine. Recently, I had the opportunity to review some applications for a funding opportunity, and I wanted to share the insights that I've gained with you. I will not be divulging personal or identifying information about the applicants or the opportunity. I will be sharing information about the requirements and how they were and were not met by the applications I had the pleasure of reviewing. The specific portion of the applications I'm going to be discussing today are going to be the letters of recommendation, and I'm going to be giving you tips for the writers and the applicants, so stay tuned. So I'll be breaking this down by tips. Tip 0, subscribe to my channel and follow me on IG and Twitter. Seriously though, tip 1 is follow directions. The application asked for 3 letters of recommendation, and I was informed to only read the first 3. It's good to ask more than 3 people for letters of recommendation, but be mindful of the application requirements. This one isn't a huge deal. Just know that the other letters won't be read or considered. And as the recommender, please be mindful if someone asks you for a letter of recommendation, get it done sooner than later to save the applicant their peace of mind. Tip 2, quality of the recommendation matters. I read a few letters that just regurgitated what was on the resume. I rank these letters 3 out of 5. 3 because they were mostly positive, but they weren't personal at all. To put this into perspective, that's the lowest that I ranked during this review process. This is a weak letter because I don't get any informative information about your character, your work ethic, or your hardships. My advice here, find people that know you well and have great stories to tell about you. Tip 3. Talk about the promotions. One thing I really enjoyed was hearing how the applicant transitioned from their original role to a new or current role. This is a chance to explain the applicant's resume, but with more insight. For instance, one letter had stated how the applicant transitioned from being their student to a valuable colleague, explaining in detail the tasks that led to this transition. Another talks about why the recommender promoted the applicant in the workplace, giving specific accounts of what they did to earn trust. These are the kinds of things that warm the reviewer's heart and prove that the applicant is capable of progressing. This one is about finding balance. Tip 4, don't overdo it with the technical skills talk. This is more than just talking about what's on your resume. It's taking it above and beyond your technical skills section. I had to read a letter of recommendation that honed in on the minute details of the applicant's research progression down to the exact neural something of some sort. I don't really know. What I'm saying is too much technical talk will overload a reviewer like myself. Assume that your reviewer is not well informed of the specifics in your field, and that we just need to know more about the soft skills that led to you being excellent at what you do. Unless, of course, you're applying to an opportunity that it's very clear that that's what they're looking for. My vote is for a 65-35 mix of your soft skills to your technical skills. I didn't expect to read about this one, but found it very informative. Tip 5, an explanation of your shortcomings. Right? Who would have thought to talk about why you might not be the best candidate, but then flip it and say that you are? One letter that I read talked about how the applicant didn't have any publications, but further explained that it was because they were a leading member for other lab-related research goals that weren't as easily publishable. This letter hits a little close to home. I've done a lot of work that doesn't translate to publications, but showcases my creativity and other skills. It was nice to hear a recommender explain this about their applicant. It also shone a light on the respect that they had for them and what they do. Tip 6, include letters from different organizations that you've been a part of in the past. Of course, it's great to have letters from your current workplace or school because they have fresh memories of you. But what's more impressive is hearing the accounts from people that you've had a lasting effect on. Tip 7, to add on to that, have people who have known you in multiple roles or facets. I read a lot of letters from supervisors and colleagues, but what about your mentees? This not only shows you as someone who is capable of doing the work, but someone that is also a good leader. This also gives insight on a different set of your skills. What impressed me the most was not the fact that this came from a supervisee position, but it explained how well they knew their work because the applicant. To me, this made me think that this applicant is creating future applicants for this opportunity, and it made me smile. Adding on to that add-on, tip 8 is to add in some testimonials from others, when appropriate, into your letter. Like I said in tip 1, you only get a certain number of letters before the rest are disregarded. So add in some input from others who won't get the chance to write their own letter. The supervisee who wrote the letter added in a quoted statement from another member of the team. To me, this held more weight. The fact that more of the team wanted to speak on their behalf was moving. I'm nearing the end of my list, so bear with me. Tip 9 is to talk about some of the outstanding accomplishments or hardships that the applicant has faced and how they've pushed forward. Another part of the application grading scale was to assess and rate any special circumstances. This again is an opportunity to learn more about the applicant and their will to succeed. This can include, but is not limited to, unique circumstances, unusual financial or family situations, or exemplary community service. For opportunities like this offering funding, they want to be sure that you're worth the investment. And this gives us a view on how you persevere when things get tough. This seemed to be lost in translation or just assumed, but tip 10 is talk about why you need the funding. Yes, everyone wants money, but why do you need the funding? Talk about holding jobs just to support yourself and how that takes away from you working on your project. Explain how you could take other opportunities related to your success if you didn't have to concern yourself about finances. Something, anything, really. Tip 11 is to discuss future plans of the applicant and be clear and consistent about it. This opportunity specifically wanted to know the applicant's intentions on being in academia. So talk about what they want to accomplish in the next 5 years and their ultimate goal. Make sure that they actually want to be in academia. But be sure all the recommenders are on the same page. If one recommender is telling me the applicant would love to work in a pharmacology lab, but another is saying that their passion is to teach at a teaching heavy university, this is going to bring down the overall score of your application. My final tip for you is ask people who are enthusiastic to write you these letters and who back you 100%. That's it. That's the tip. If you ask somebody to write you a letter and they say sure, and it just seems to be another task on their list of things to complete, imagine how that letter will sound. But if you ask someone and they respond with an enthusiastic sure, followed by a conversation about the opportunity and how it will help you along your path, this is a good person to have asked. I hope these 12 tips have helped you in your letter writing and receiving endeavors. Let me know your take on some of these tips and if you found them helpful. As always, thank you for supporting and watching, and I can't wait to see you in my next video. See ya!